Goldie Jean Hawn, born November 21, 1945, is an American actress, director, producer, and occasional singer. Hawn is known for her roles in television's Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In and films such as The Sugarland Express, Private Benjamin, Foul Play, Shampoo, Overboard, Bird on a Wire, Death Becomes Her, The First Wives Club, and Cactus Flower, for which she won the 1969 Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. She is the mother of actors Oliver Hudson, Kate Hudson, and Wyatt Russell. Hawn has been in a relationship with actor Kurt Russell since 1983. Early life. Hawn was born in Washington, D.C., the daughter of Laura née Steinhoff, November 27, 1913 November 27, 1993, a jewelry shop, dance school owner, and Edward Rutledge Hawn, September 28, 1908 June 7, 1982, a band musician who played at major events in Washington. She was named after her mother's aunt. She has one sister, Patricia. Her brother, Edward, died as an infant before Goldie's birth. Her father was a Presbyterian, and of German and English descent, while her mother was Jewish, the daughter of immigrants from Hungary. Hawn had a Jewish upbringing. Hawn is often reported to be a direct descendant of Edward Rutledge, the youngest signatory of the Declaration of Independence. However, genealogical research has shown that Rutledge is not an ancestor of Hawn's. Hawn was raised in Tacoma Park, Maryland, a suburb of Washington, D.C., and attended Montgomery Blair High School in nearby Silver Spring, Maryland. Hawn began taking ballet and tap dance lessons at the age of 3, and danced in the chorus of the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo production of The Nutcracker in 1955. She made her stage debut in 1961, playing Juliet in a Virginia Shakespeare Festival production of Romeo and Juliet. By 1964, she ran and taught in a ballet school, having dropped out of American University, where she was majoring in drama. In 1964, Hawn made her professional dancing debut in a production of Can at the Texas Pavilion of the New York World's Fair. She began working as a professional dancer a year later, and appeared as a go-go dancer in New York City. Career. 1960s. Hawn began her acting career as a cast member of the short-lived situation comedy Good Morning, World during the 1967-1968 television season, her role being that of the girlfriend of a radio disc jockey, with a stereotypical dumb blonde personality. Her next role, which brought her to international attention, was as one of the regular cast members on the 1968-1973 sketch comedy show, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. On the show, she would often break out into high-pitched giggles in the middle of a joke, and deliver a polished performance a moment after. Noted equally for her chipper attitude as for her bikini and painted body, Hawn was seen as something of a 1960s it girl. Her laugh-in persona was parlayed into 3 popular film appearances in the late 1960s and early 1970s, Cactus Flower, There's a Girl in My Soup, and Butterflies Are Free. Hawn had made her feature film debut in a bit role as a giggling dancer in the 1968 film The One and Only, Genuine, Original Family Band, in which she was billed as Goldie Jean, but in her first major film role, in Cactus Flower, 1969, she won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress as Walter Matthau's suicidal fiancée, 1970s. After Hawn's Academy Award win, her film career took off. She starred in a string of above-average and successful comedies starting with There's a Girl in My Soup, 1970, Dollar, 1971, and Butterflies Are Free, 1972. She continued proving herself in the dramatic league with the 1974 satirical dramas The Girl from Petrovka and The Sugarland Express, and Shampoo in 1975. She also hosted 2 television specials, Pure Goldie in 1971 and The Goldie Hawn Special in 1978. The latter was a sort of comeback for Hawn, who had been out of the spotlight for 2 years since the 1976 release of The Duchess and the Dirtwater Fox, while she was focusing on her marriage and the birth of her son. On the special she performed show tunes and comedy bits alongside comic legend George Burns, teen matinee idol Sean Cassidy, popular television star John Ritter, during his days on Three's Company, and even the Harlem Globetrotters joined her for a montage. The special later went on to be nominated for a Primetime Emmy. 4 months later the film Foul Play, with Chevy Chase, was released and became a box office smash, reviving Hawn's film career. The plot centered around an innocent woman in San Francisco who becomes mixed up in a murder plot. Hawn's next film, Mario Monicelli's Lovers and Liars, 1979, was a box office bomb. In 1972 Hawn recorded and released a solo country LP for Warner Brothers, titled Goldie. It was recorded with the help of Dolly Parton and Buck Owens. AllMusic gives the album a favorable review, calling it a sweetly endearing country-tinged middle-of-the-road pop record. 1980s. Hawn's popularity continued into the 1980s, starting with another primetime variety special alongside actress and singer Liza Minnelli, Goldie and Liza Together, 1980, which was nominated for 4 Primetime Emmys. In the same year, Hawn took the lead role in Private Benjamin, a comedy she produced. Private Benjamin, which also stars Eileen Brennan and Armand Assante, garnered Hawn her second Academy Award nomination, this time for Best Actress. Hawn's box office success continued with comedies like Seems Like Old Times, 1980, Protocol, 1984, and Wildcats, 1986. Hawn also served as executive producer on the latter two, and dramas like Best Friends, 1982, and Swing Shift, 1984. At the age of 39, Hawn posed for the cover of Playboy January 1985 issue. Hawn posed in a giant martini glass wearing nothing but a white collar shirt, a loosened black tie, fishnet stockings and a pair of red stilettos. Her last film of the 1980s was opposite partner Kurt Russell for the third time in the comedy Overboard, 1987. 1990s. Hawn's career slowed down after leaving Hollywood in the late 1980s, but revived somewhat in 1990 with the action comedy Bird on a Wire, a critically panned but commercially successful picture that paired Hawn with Mel Gibson. Hawn had mixed success in the early 1990s, with the thriller Deceived, 1991, the drama Criss Cross in opposite Bruce Willis and Meryl Streep in Death Becomes Her, both 1992. Earlier that year, she starred in How's It, a screwball comedy with Steve Martin, which was a commercial and critical success. Hawn was absent from the screen again for 4 years while caring for her mother who died of cancer in 1994. Hawn made her entry back into film as producer of the satirical comedy Something to Talk About starring Julia Roberts and Dennis Quaid, as well as making her directorial debut in the television film Hope, 1997, starring Christine Lottie and Gina Malone. Hawn returned to the screen again in 1996 as the aging, alcoholic actress Elise Elliott in the financially and critically successful The First Wives Club, opposite Betty Midler and Diane Keaton, with whom she covered the Leslie Gore hit You Don't Own Me for the film's soundtrack. Hawn also performed a cover version of the Beatles' song, A Hard Day's Night, on George Martin's 1998 album, In My Life. She continued her tenure in the 1990s with Woody Allen's musical Everyone Says I Love You, 1996, and reuniting with Steve Martin for the comedy The Out-of-Towners, 1999, a remake of the 1970 Neil Simon hit. The film was critically panned and was not successful at the box office. In 1997, Hawn, along with her co-stars from The First Wives Club, Diane Keaton and Betty Midler, were recipients of the Women in Film Crystal Awards. In 1999 she was awarded Hasty Pudding Woman of the Year. 2000s. In 2001 Hawn was reunited with former co-stars Warren Beatty, her co-star in Dollar and Shampoo, and Diane Keaton for the comedy, Town and Country, a critical and financial fiasco. Budgeted at an estimated $90 million, the film opened to little notice and grossed only $7 million in its North American theatrical run. In 2002, she appeared in The Banger Sisters opposite Susan Sarandon and Jeffrey Rush. In 2005 Hawn's autobiography, A Lotus Grows in the Mud, was published. Personal life. Hawn has studied meditation. In a 2012 interview, she stated, I don't think of myself as a Buddhist. I was born Jewish, and I consider that my religion. She also stated, it's not the idea of a particular religion that's important, it's the development of a spiritual life. Hawn is a supporter of the LGBT community. Speaking on nations such as Nigeria and others which have criminalized homosexuals, she denounced these laws, stating, this is man's inhumanity to man, of the first order. Relationships and family. Hawn's first husband was dancer, later director, Gus Traconis, who appeared as a shark in West Side Story. His sister Gina played Graciela, Riff's girlfriend. Her second husband was Bill Hudson, of the Hudson Brothers. The couple married in 1976 and divorced in 1982. They have 2 children, actor Oliver Hudson, born September 7, 1976, and actress Kate Hudson, born April 19, 1979. Hawn has been in a relationship with actor Kurt Russell since 1983. They first met while filming the one and only, Genuine, original Family Band, 1968, but became involved after meeting on the set of Swing Shift. They have a son, Wyatt, born July 10, 1986. They also own a home in Palm Desert, California. Hawn is also the stepmother of Kurt Russell's son Boston. Hawn has 5 grandchildren. Through her son Oliver and his wife, actress Erin Bartlett, she has grandsons Wilder Brooks Hudson, born 2007, and Bodie Hawn Hudson, born 2010, and granddaughter Rio Laura Hudson, born 2013. Through her daughter Kate, Hawn has grandsons Ryder Russell Robinson, born 2004, from Kate's marriage to musician Chris Robinson, and Bingham Hawn Bellamy, born 2011, from Kate's relationship with musician Matthew Bellamy. The Hawn Foundation. Hawn founded the Hawn Foundation, which provides youth education programs intended to improve academic performance through life-enhancing strategies for well-being. The Hawn Foundation has supported research studies conducted conducted by external researchers to evaluate the effectiveness of its educational program for children, called Mindup. Filmography, film, television. Additional credits. Private Benjamin, 1980, additionally served as executive producer. Protocol, 1984, additionally served as executive producer. Wildcats, 1986, additionally served as executive producer. My Blue Heaven, 1990, executive producer. Something to Talk About, 1995, executive producer. Hope, 1997 TV movie, director and executive producer. When Billy Beat Bobby, 2001 TV movie, executive producer. The Matthew Shepard Story, 2002, executive producer. Discography, albums, 1972, Goldie, Reprise Records, MS 2061, singles, 1972, Pitta Patta, Reprise Records, Rep 1126, directed by Van Dyke Parks, 1997, You Don't Own Me, Columbia Records, XPCD 842, with Betty Midler and Diane Keaton. Awards and nominations.